I actually remember this footpath here at Purfleet, heading down towards the Thames. Let's crack on. It's a beautiful day today, lovely sunny day, and so I'm gonna do the walk I intended to do back in, I think it was February or March, when I ended up going to the easternmost point in Greater London. I don't know if you haven't watched that video, I recommend, I'll link it below. And that was a fantastic walk. But what I was doing is I was looking at the map to find the Mardyke, which is a walk people have been suggesting to me for a long time. The Mardyke, a river out here, right on the eastern edge of London. Technically we're in Essex right now. And that's when I saw the marker for the most eastern point in Greater London, which is right on the banks of the Mardyke. So today I'm coming out to actually walk the Mardyke Way. And I'm going to start here at the Thames and then walk back to that point, where the easternmost point in Greater London, a village called Bulphan, I think it's called, Bulphan. And today's video, by the way, I'm delighted to announce, is sponsored by HelloFresh. Wonderful HelloFresh, regular partner now, aren't they? HelloFresh is fantastic. And there'll be a great offer code for you. And I'll tell you more about what HelloFresh offer, I'll show you some of the food, do all that in a bit. But let's get down to the Thames. We're not actually going to go over the top, but let's just have a little look over the wall. There's a ladder here which appears to be for that very purpose. Wow, what a landscape. I love this part of the Thames because the expanse of the river. You know, you get that sense of the sea, of London as a maritime city. Look at that massive ship down there, just near the Queen Elizabeth II bridge. Goes over to Dartford. And the river we're walking today, the Mardyke, is part of this story. It's part of this ecosystem, a tidal river that went into the Essex countryside, and apparently even, you know, people used to, I was going to say sail barges, but take barges up to the villages there, I guess, carrying agricultural produce and whatnot. Wow, excited for the day ahead. So we'll stay on this side of the concrete wall because I think we get penned in pretty quickly on the other side. And we'll find the confluence of the Mardyke and the Thames, hopefully. I have no idea what's going on here. But what I do know is that we can't go any further this way. We may not get to the mouth of the Mardyke after all, but the Mardyke Way path does actually start further along its course at Aveley at Ship Lane. I just thought you've got to be able to get to the river here and then, you know, do a bit of road walking up to Aveley. So, you know, I'm taking a little bit of a punt trying to get down to the river. Purfleet is an ancient settlement. A lot of people associate it, of course, with Dracula, Carfax Abbey, where Dracula lives, Carfax Abbey being a fictional place, but it shows how Purfleet existed in the minds of Victorians. A remote, marshy fenland area out on the edge of London on the wide reaches of the Thames. It's a good collection of footpaths. You've got the Thames path and we've got the London Loop. I think this is the London Loop section, I can't remember, but I don't know if I've walked this little footpath before. So as I mentioned, this video is sponsored by HelloFresh. If you haven't used HelloFresh before, it's a fantastic recipe meal kit delivery service where they deliver lovely fresh ingredients straight to your door with really easy to follow recipe cards, very clear recipe cards that are numbered. You have a bag of ingredients which are also numbered, so you just match the two numbers. Basically, you know, prep your veg and all the rest of it, do the prep. But super easy to follow. It's all portioned out for you as well, like your spices and your herbs and all that stuff's all portioned out, or any sauces you need to add, that's all portioned out. It's beautiful and fresh, very summery. We did three of the recipes. Each of them had things like, you know, lovely fresh tomatoes. Each of them actually came with fresh tomatoes. Last night I cooked the Stacey Solomon. This is the Stacey Solomon korma style chicken with spicy potatoes. And they're quick as well. Delicious, so tasty, and so easy to do. And we've got an offer code for you. I love it. It's HELLOJR. I like that. It's HELLOJR. So it's HELLOJR. I feel like when you use that though, if you use the code, you're going to have to go HELLOJR as you type it in, and you get 60% off your first box. Then free desserts for life. Free. I'm just reading it. Free desserts for life. So it's here. So if you want to take advantage of that offer, just click the link below or scan the QR code, which is up here on the screen somewhere. That'll do the same job. And yeah, and add in the HELLOJR. And yeah, I hope you enjoy your HelloFresh experience as much as I and the family do. The family absolutely love it. I love it too. So thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Purfleet was also the place though. A significant military garrison that made up about 20% of the population that were here to guard the gunpowder mills, not gunpowder mills, the gunpowder stores. What do they call them? The big stores, the bomb-proof stores that were here that held, I think, 60,000 barrels of gunpowder. 60,000 barrels of gunpowder. That's a lot of gunpowder, and that was stored down here from the 18th century onwards. And there was a military garrison to protect it. And there was a bit of artillery down here as well. And in the First World War, I think it was 1916, the anti-aircraft battery here brought down a Zeppelin, and I think it was the first time that a Zeppelin was brought down by anti-aircraft fire. So this is Purfleet Heritage Park. And what's interesting here, let's see, from the 1830s, Purfleet developed a tourist trade with ferry boats, trains and bicycles, bringing day trippers to enjoy the river and scenic views to Beacon Hill. Small cafes, a hotel sprung up here. The Royal Hotel is back behind me. It's just along there slightly, the Royal Hotel. And we have the beacon up on the hill there. I love seeing those. I don't know why it's great that so many of them still survive. I think across the country used to send signals on important occasions. And this part of the walk isn't on the official Mardyke Way, because I don't think we can follow the Mardyke very far from here, but I just really want to capture that moment, because the confluence of the Thames is an incredibly important part of the story of the river. Wow, this is impressive. This is Purfleet powder magazine, gunpowder magazine, which was built sometime around 1760. That's an impressive brick, but it looks like a brick barn, doesn't it? So we get a good view of the confluence of the Mardyke and the Thames right down there. It's a magical spot, as I'm always fond of saying. The confluence of two streams is a place of great pagan worship, and the name Purfleet is said to derive from Purta's stream or Purta's tidal inlet, which is obviously a reference to the Mardyke. What an absolutely magical spot. I'm glad to be starting the walk here rather than ending it here, which I'd normally do. I'd normally walk towards the Thames, but I wanted to start here today to make sure I captured this bit of the walk, really. That's RSPB Rainham Marshes on the other side of the Mardyke. So this sluice gate here marks the beginning of the upstream walk. I think that is to control the tidal waters, to hold back the tide, quite literally. So we've got a path here that runs beside the river for a short distance. There is an inevitable bit of road walking coming up before we get on the official Mardyke Way. Even in these wider sections near the mouth of the river, it's interesting to think of barges travelling inland along this watercourse here, isn't it? I looked at a blog this morning to see if I could get any more information about the route at this end And I'm pretty sure I saw a reference to these being tram tracks from the military past, when I guess supplies were moved to and from the powder magazine and the barracks. Is that correct? It's a very narrow gauge tram, if so. I'm not crossing the bridge onto the Rainham side. I'm very much staying on the Purfleet side. That may turn out to not be a great idea, but let's see if it works. This is a great view of the river here from this old metal bridge. I think this iron bridge is a military bridge. Another fact I picked up from that blog, Remote London. Can you see the letters there? WD. Apparently that stands for War Department. I would have missed that if I hadn't found it on that person's blog. You can just drop down onto the bridge below to get a view. Isn't that great? Yeah, so now we've reached the point of the unavoidable detour on a big loop to get to Ship Lane and the Mardyke Way. I think this arterial road here is literally called Arterial Road. Like they ran out of ideas. 3/4 of a mile to Averley, where we pick up Ship Lane that will then take us down to the Mardyke Way. It's probably about, I don't know, 1.5 miles. It's the start of the Mardyke Way. It is definitely a kind of strange landscape out here, sort of Rainham, Purfleet, Thurrock. If you've never been out here and you live in London, definitely come out here, because this is an essential part of the kind of London ecosystem. A13, trunk road to the sea. Working my way through the fringe of Averley to get to the junction with Ship Lane. The walk hasn't actually technically started yet. It's a much longer walk through Averley than it looked on my phone, but nearly there, nearly at Ship Lane. The Old Ship Inn, which is curious to find such a named ship, sort of a couple of miles inland, but it shows you the links to the sea here, with the the proximity of the Thames. And Ship Lane is heading in the direction of the Thames, and it's down here that we should find the Mardyke Way path, get back on the river. I am going to cross those to look at what looks like quite a significantly aged church over there. I don't know if we can access the church from Ship Lane, and I'm afraid I don't really want to go on another detour of my detour, but that looks like a church of some heritage. So we're going to need Rob from Church Crawling popping up in the comments with the lowdown on this church here at Averley. There are so many enticing detours here. This little track, you can see some old overgrown barns down there. Oh, it's a place of mysteries and stories, I'm sure. Sometimes long walks along roads like this are just a necessary part of the journey. But those fields over there, look, so expansive. Crossing back over the A13 in the opposite direction now. And here we are back on the Mardyke. It looks as though it's flooded this meadow. Here, just where we go back onto the Mardyke Way. Wow, what a beautiful reintroduction. And after, I don't know how many miles, a few miles, certainly about 1.5 hours, we find ourselves now on the Mardyke Valley Way. It's our first official kind of introduction to it, and it's interesting. That isn't that encouraging. I've got to admit I can't see it following the route. Oh yes I can, here you go. You are here. Here's our route along the river to North Stifford, but the footpath does carry on. And this is the start of that footpath. What a delightful stroll ahead we have. You can see the river there, just making its way through that meadow. Wow, this is really beautiful. Perfect way to kind of herald what I hope is now the start of summer. It's the 2nd of June today. We've got a confluence of motorways there, the A13 and the M25. It looks like there's another one or two as well. It looks like the cars are jam-packed and they're gridlocked on a hot sunny day. It must be horrible. This must be one of the tributaries of the Mardyke. It does have a few apparently. I don't know what this one is called. It's seductively clear water. You can see the bottom of the stream bed here, but there is this kind of oily film on the surface. Not a soul out walking this path today. Saw a couple of cyclists and that was it. It's funny seeing the river here. I can now imagine the barges cutting through these meadows on their way up to Bulphan, and presumably the other way more than it going inland. I guess they would have taken agricultural produce down to the dock. There was a very small dock down at Purfleet. This might be the best view we get of the viaduct, the brick viaduct. I think it's known as the 14 Arches, that carries the railway over the Mardyke Valley. The footpath takes us right underneath the viaduct. It's such a impressive structure, isn't it? It's huge. For the distance, it looked like a little bridge just going across the marshes, but here you can see it's a real local marvel. Last thing I need is choices. We've got a junction here, path carrying on, one off to the right, and a bridge. I instinctively feel like I want to go over the bridge. Lovely to be stood over the river once again. You need these points of contact on a river walk. Information board here, and what I love, look, sometimes people will ask me about my fascination with rivers and lost rivers. Here's part of the reason. Look, the Mardyke has been running on its current course for over 30 million years. This is much longer than the Thames has been following its current course, as the Thames was pushed off course by a huge glacier 450,000 years ago. Before that, it used to flow through Essex. Wow. And also it tells us the name Mardyke means boundary ditch. It does act as a parish boundary, and at one point, obviously, the boundary between Greater London and Essex. Wow, 30 million years. See, that's it. It's almost too much to absorb. Well, this is a lovely path now. It should be pretty much straightforward on this side, on the eastern side, all the way to Bulphan. I think. I always get a feeling I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Bulphan. Here's another fine old bridge over the river. Now we know it's 30 million years old. It deserves some decent bridges, doesn't it? And this being a river walk, and us being big fans of the Ben Aronovich Rivers of London series, we must ask the question of, I wonder who is the deity of the Mardyke? Who do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. We've got some great descriptions before. Was it the Maze Brook where we asked that question and got some fantastic answers? We have a lovely little weir here, which gives you that wonderful trickling sound. I feel like this is one that's been created by the Environment Agency though, to kind of study the water. I just love this sky over this lush green pasture here, this lush green meadow or fenland. It's almost like the perfect sky, isn't it? From the opening titles of The Simpsons. And here's another cracking bridge. So I have seen a few more people since I last mentioned it, not many. And what was lovely then, a couple of young girls came past riding horses, so I had to stand back and make way for the horses. And here are, this must be where they came from, look at them. They're going to really enjoy the mud in this weather, aren't they? The cool mud. I think this curious metal structure here, it's not that curious really, is it? I think it's carrying either cables or water pipes or gas pipes over the river. Sort of got a beauty to it, hasn't it? And the grass here is quite long and I am in my shorts today. So now I'm actually a little bit more mindful of Lyme's disease, because it does exist now in southern England. It's just a question of checking yourself after a walk, I think. But it is on my mind in the way it never was. Spoke to a couple of fishermen back there, a couple of guys fishing on the riverbank. Looked idyllic. I asked them what kind of thing they caught, and they said, oh, like a rudd roach. I think it said rudd roach, carp, occasionally pike, but nothing you can eat. So they said they're straight back in the water, straight back in the water. It's interesting, they were having a great day, just sunning themselves on the riverbank, having a chat. Seems what a glorious way to spend a Sunday afternoon. I have to say, the edge of this field here is very dry indeed, even though we've had quite a bit of rain over the last couple of weeks. Landscapes like this always do make me think of The Detectorists, amazing TV show. I'm trying to get my wife to watch it, but she's resisting at the moment. One of the main differences between doing this type of country walk, even though we're only just on the edge of London, I mean look, this is clearly a country walk, and the type of city walks that I usually do, is that as far as I can see is just this field, and it's just a long walk. There's nothing changing around me. I mean, some of the sounds change a little bit, but underfoot is the same, my surroundings are the same, for as far as I can see. So it's a lot more, it's a very different experience, that's all I say. So we've got quite a long walk along the edge of this field, and I think we get to Orsett Fen. There's the river down there, deep amongst the reeds and the weeds. Can't really see much water down here, but I think this is another tributary of the Mardyke here. It could just be a drainage ditch, I'm not entirely sure, but it does make a confluence. You can see down here, there is lovely running water down here. So this is another confluence. What a delightful little brook. It's going to be really interesting to arrive back at that point where I was in the dark earlier in the year, in the winter. It's not far ahead. It's going to be an interesting moment. I won't be in the same field, but I'll be on the other side of the field and I'll be able to see it, and I will be able to see Fen Lane. Pretty sure this must be Orsett Fen now, or it might even be slightly back there. It's difficult to tell, it all looks the same, but it doesn't show up on the Google map, but on my OS map this appears to be where I am. Given what the weather's been like lately, I didn't think today would be a day where I'd be kind of conserving water and hoping there's a shop open in Bulphan, but Bulphan. But that is where we're at. I've got about just under an inch of warm water in my bottle. I don't know how much further I've got to go. It's not that far, but then I've got to walk on to West Horndon to the station, but one thing at a time. And there you go, it just goes to show. We've learnt to mistrust weather forecasts, haven't we? I think this is my favourite bridge of the day. This old wooden bridge here looks like it must have been here a while. And it must be over a tributary of the Mardyke, because, yeah, there's not a lot of water in it, but there's a little stream down there. Notice of the construction of a solar farm here on Bulphan Fen. Supposed to have started in February 2023. I guess you can see actually it has started. Look over there, that grey line I think must be it. Clearer view of the solar farm from here. Not far from Bulphan now, and it's interesting to consider that the river may have once been navigable as far as this, because it seems sort of slightly unlikely, although here, the widest part, you can imagine a kind of some type of barge being able to be punted along the river maybe. They probably would have kept these weeds cut back. It's an intriguing idea, isn't it? There is an article called Barges to Bulphan that I will link you below. In a lot of ways, this is the moment of truth. This is really what the walk is about in some ways. Arriving back at that point, at the easternmost point in Greater London, a walk I did earlier in the year, where I ended in that field on the other side of the hedgerow there, in the pitch black. Right, here we go. Place that I declared the most eastern point in Greater London. It's just on the, I'll put an arrow in there actually, sort of on the left centre of your frame there. So this is roughly just on the other side of the hedge, on the other side of the Mardyke, on the Essex side. I wondered if there'd be something here, but there isn't anything here, but there you go. I wasn't really expecting anything, to be honest with you. So we've just got a short distance to go now until we come out into the village or onto Fen Lane. However, there is this metal post. Is that it? Is that the boundary marker for the most eastern point in Greater London? It doesn't need to be. The river is the boundary marker and the river is just behind it. I think this path now just leads straight into the village of Bulphan. And then I've got to double back just a short distance to pick up the footpath to West Horndon. The bridge ahead, Harrow Bridge, is the end of our walk. By the looks of it, I thought the walk went into the village, but it ends here at the bridge, which is handy for me because it's where the footpath goes up to West Horndon. Yeah, here's a nice new Mardyke Way sign here, Bulphan to Davy Down. And then there's the section, the Mardyke Way section after that. That was the first section that we walked. We did it. As ever, we did it in, no, we didn't do it in reverse order. This is the order in which, which is to be done. You can see my brain's going a little bit skew-whiff with the lack of water in the sun. So it's time to bade farewell to the glorious little Mardyke. What a fantastic river this is. What a journey, what a history, what stories. 30 million year old watercourse. It's an honour to have walked it. So I'm walking up here a short distance and then hopefully turning left across the fields to West Horndon. And it does seem as if I'm still on the Mardyke. I said goodbye too soon. One last bridge and then we say goodbye to the river. I'm not going to repeat what I said before, but what an amazing walk, what a beautiful river. And from Purfleet to here is around 11 miles. I think it's showing up as 11.4 on my phone, but some of that would have been, you know, getting to the station and stuff. So 11 miles to here, and what a great walk it is. This is one of those situations when the map is lying to me. It says just to go straight across, but clearly I'm not going to walk straight through that field of wheat. I'll go around the edge, I suppose. Farmhouses up there. So I just couldn't find the footpath that runs across the fields parallel to this road here, Dunning's Lane. I don't know what's happened to there, whether my map's out of date or not. So just a short distance along this lane. And then we're at West Horndon and the walk's end. It's interesting today how large chunks of today have consisted of just long straight walks, like this long road, long straight road here, and the long path I had along the side of that field that led up to and through Orset Fen. It's quite an interesting experience. And you can see, look, theoretically this is the other end of that footpath, but it's not marked out across this field. So finally here at West Horndon Station. It wouldn't have seemed very long to you, but that was, it was quite a long old slog. So thank you so much for joining me on that illuminating walk along the beautiful little Mardyke. And thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. So remember, you can click the link below or scan the QR code here to get a fantastic offer of 60% off your first box and then free desserts for life. Wow. Remember, when you click that link or scan that code, to use the offer code HELLOJR, which I love. Anyway, as I always like to say, I look forward to seeing you on the next walk, wherever that may be. And I actually know where it is. It's the Sniggs Alley walk that I filmed a few weeks ago, so that's a really special walk, really beautiful. Actually, it's a good compliment to this walk here. Take care, have a great week.
It's over the meadow, over the stream, it's where I am going and where I have been. It's been a long day now, it's time for a beer, and now for home, of course I must steer. It's over